Hi, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful session where we will be hearing from some of our presenters, and it's a session that will focus on the impact of pesticides and how children and young people are moving towards agroecology. My name is Sarojeni Rengam, as you can see from the name. I'm with Pesticide Action Network Asia Pacific. It's a global network focusing on the elimination of pesticides and its risks and promoting and advancing agroecology and food sovereignty. So we are Asia-wide, and we will be linked up with other regional networks in the 5 continents: Africa, Latin America, Europe, and North America. And of course, I'm from Asia Pacific. So this session is looking at future in the hands of young people, agroecology in action. And we have, around 108 million children who are engaged in agriculture, and they work globally in agriculture, and they're exposed to toxic agricultural chemicals. While working in the fields, they are very vulnerable to the hazards of pesticides and at risk of inhaling and absorbing pesticides being sprayed, broadcast, or sprinkled in the fields. So you will find that older children are also spraying pesticides as part of laborers, agricultural workers, and working in family farms. As a result, PAN-AP and partners, and I'll be sharing with you some of the partners who are here, who will share with us what they have done in terms of addressing this terrible terrible impacts of pesticides on children and adults, and all farming communities, as well as consumers and urban people as well, because pesticides just goes everywhere in terms of the environment. In this session, I have the honor and privilege to introduce to you a few of the speakers. First one would be Jayakumar Chelaton. He's the Director of Pesticide Action Network and Trustee of Tunnel, and he has worked with environmental activism since 1978. Jayan, can you switch on your video so that people can see you? He has been the founder of Tunnel and has been active in the environment, research, and education. Janeesha, can you just switch on your video as well? Comes from Kerala. She has been from an indigenous community in Kerala, and she has been very involved working with her family in moving towards agroecology, and she has now a degree in commerce, so she wants to continue to work with her parents' land, and she's been doing that for the last 2 years. We have interpreter Bharathan, who will help us with the local language interpretation. Then we have Nasira Habib, who is an educationist, environmentalist, and organic gardener, the founder of POJ, Society for People's Education, and Organica, Pakistan. And she's a graduate from the University of Essex, England, and the Institute of Social Studies, Netherlands. But one of the major contribution and inspiration has been the work she has done in the organic farming, how she's also moved to be educationist through working in the rural areas with children, set up schools, and has developed the curriculum to help not only children but adults to read and write and to learn and study. Then we have Noor Fatima, also Noor has been one of the students of Nasira Habib in the school in the village, and she has excelled, and now she's herself a teacher in the school, and she's the she has the family has small land, and she's the eldest among the siblings, but she has been very active in moving agroecology in the schools, teaching the students, the family about agroecology. So we'll hear from her as well. And then we have the last but not the least, and Lasimbang, also the executive director of PACOS, which is the a very strong indigenous community that has been working with the communities in Sabah, and they've expanded to provide support not only to the children to move them towards agroecology. They have a small farm where the children spend time learning, and they also have been fighting for indigenous people's rights. And I think that's been one of the most important aspects of the work that they have done. So thank you everyone for joining us. And now we will move on to Jayakumar from Tanil. Jayan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Saro. I think I need a help for the PowerPoint. Can you just share it for me?
Can you see?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
can make it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you move to the next? I mean, it is just an intro about me. The slide. So let us go to the next slide, please. Yeah. I know of time constraints, so I'm not moving in great detail. In Kerala, the endosulfan tragedy, which awakened us more towards the agroecology path. Our government has spent millions of rupees in terms of supporting the victims, and also now do the medical relief, and it's a bit of a pain. So banning and moving out of highly hazardous pesticides we see as a good option. Next, please. One of the problem what we talk about is today we have enough proof, technical proof and scientific peer-reviewed proof which talks about impact of pesticides on children. This is one paper which talks about residential pesticide use and insecticide use during pregnancy causing childhood leukemia. Next, please, sir. We have another very interesting presentation which talks about a 10 times increase in organophosphate pesticides in food can cause a lower birth weight by 151 grams and delayed of preterm half a week before the time delivery of the child. So again, published paper, peer-reviewed information on how pesticides are impacting people. Next, please, sir. So the whole question is about children polluted, born polluted in a parental and fetal exposure. Pesticides are able to cross the one of the sacred connection in human culture is the placental connection. It was able to cross the placenta and blood-brain barrier, which is again mind-boggling and very scary. Especially the children are very much vulnerable to pesticide effects because they breathe much faster. They get exposed very easily. Children get sick from even a minute amount of pesticide that usually do not harm the adults. So many times as a parent, we may not realize in a farming community that my child is harmed by pesticide because her exposure of small quantity may not cause harm to me as an adult. Small doses of poison affect the ability to learn and grow. We have enough studies, peer-reviewed studies, which talk about IQ drops and how pesticides are creating learning disabilities and whatnot. So in a sense, I'll say that we fail to provide the pesticide-free food and water for the children, which is again a major concern, and that is why we need to move towards agroecology pathway. Next, please, sir. We also a bit scary when I say food. You'll ask me what. This is typical South Indian 2 dishes which is served in the traditional food at homes. As per the government of Kerala data, the sambar, one of the curry which we use in food, along with rice, it contains about 12 types of pesticides in one single dish. The similar accompanying dish for any regular meal in Kerala is a thoran, and it contains about 9 types of pesticides in single dish. This is again not an activist data, this is a government data. Next, please, thank you. So in our work, we have an agroecology center, and in our center, our colleagues have been picking the discarded bottle containers from the paddy fields nearby in the village, and they put an installation depicting a pregnant lady with contaminated pesticides from the field. And this is our young team, and especially when we talk about the young, the next generation picking it, we are quite happy to see that in this bunch of 15 people, there are only 2 who are above 40. All the rest is less than 30, which is a good way to talk. Next, please, sir. And one of the challenge or the success or why we are proud of our young people is that this small team which I showed above is maintaining a 300 different indigenous paddy from India, mostly half of it from Kerala and the rest from other Indian states, is grown every year by our team. And this is the mosaic of colors you are seeing is that the diversity of rice in different shades. Next, please, sir. See, the whole question we see in our young education is that this is one bunch of young agriculture graduates, undergraduates who are doing their internship in our center. The other is a social service activity of the higher school students who came for making fun. Learning can also be fun, I think. It is something which we deprive when we use pesticides. We can't allow the kids to get in, and they also get scared of getting in. Next, please, sir. The field sprayed with toxic pesticides, can we allow our children to play? That is a big question which I hear in most of the villages and most of the rural areas where I go. And in an agroecology field, you can actually invite the students, and they enjoy being looking at the diversity, understanding soil, playing soil with hand. It is a different world. I think agroecology has a huge relevance in that sense of providing rights to the next generation. And here is a bunch of young people who enjoy our agroecology center. Next, please. This is again a bunch of students doing their school project of looking at a diversity of paddy. Next, please, sir. We were quite happy that we have our neighboring students who come, and we had a conversation with them about buffer zone as an idea, which PAN has been pushing to keep away a barrier for pesticides to reach the children. And we had a very lively activity with our young kids around the farm, and they really enjoy the have happiness to be in an agroecology farm and do whatever they want to do. Next, please. We are also happy that, including Janeesha, we have run this tribal agroecology fellowship. And under the fellowship, our youth team, we have trained, the first batch is out, and the second batch is now starting. Every batch, we have up to 20 students. They do theory and as well as practicals, and they are, after the course, they are doing their own agroecology farms, either with their parents or on their own. And we are quite happy to see how it moves. Next, please. And also accessing more government funds. And it is also in a new age where the traditions and the cultures are a bit more challenged by the new educations, and they are not with their parents. They go to the school, so they are disconnected from the village. So now they are back into the village, learning through this fellowship how to do farming and how to. You also have to realize that they need to be upgraded in some of the newer technologies of handling animals. So there is a bunch of things happening, and we see a very happy and energetic young people moving it forward. Next, sir. And this is again another small sustainable livelihood project we have, where we are seeing especially the livelihood with animal care and honey apiculture, the honey bees and the fish. The children are in the forefront, and they are also doing their small scale farming for home kitchen gardens. They also rear the animal. It is for them, it is a great fun. And I think the whole idea of the young people liking and taking agroecology and moving is primarily, I see this pitch of being very natural and able to connect very easily. Next, please, sir. That is my last slide. Thank you for your attention. And I think I was just trying to tell you that the contrast of a toxic pesticide and its laden problems for us, and the option of being very natural and being in the true ecosystems where they can connect with everyone. Thank you for listening. I'll be ready for questions later.
Thank you, Jen. Now I'll call on Janeesha to share with us your experiences on agriculture.
Good evening, my name is Janeesha. I am from Attapadi, Malay Budiyar. We are actually Kurumbas, which is a primitive tribe in Kerala. There are about 19 hamlets in Kurumbas. Mostly it is an interface of forest and our own land. They are doing traditional tribal agriculture as a family farming. Main crops are finger millet and various other millets and peas, several different peas, and they start their farming generally in April, May. It is about a year-long process, about 10 months. The final cropping happens in February. The first crops, they normally do the harvest in October, November. And this is a traditional farming they are doing for the last 4 years. She has been working with her family. She has really wished to take the traditional tribal agriculture forward. The challenges they are mainly facing is the change in climate pattern. So the monsoon gets delayed by a month, or there is more hot summer damaging the crops. And they also have a little bit problem with coexistence with wild animals. The government of Kerala started Namadu Vellam, a project by the tribal department, and that was helping them to move more towards, because there is a state support. So was it okay? She has stopped.
Thank you, Janeesha. So maybe later we have more questions about, what motivated you to continue to support and work your family's land. But we'll come back to that. Thanks for your presentation, Janeesha. I will now pass on to Nasira Habib. Nasira? I'm sharing Nasira, so you can just tell me to move it.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Jan has already set the stage. Next, please, Saru. Yeah. So so there is no doubt children are our future. And as we can see very easily that our future is under serious threat. See, our experience is, and what we believe in is that if we follow the patterns of nature, how food is produced and how the climate is kept under normal conditions. So it is a guarantee to protect our children and life. I mean, all the biodiversity, whether it's plants or it's animals or whatever. So if we follow nature, that is the only guarantee. So believing that and believing in that, Code Society for People's Education pioneered an alternative approach to education because we believe that only adding some elements to formal schooling is not enough. So we need to have a holistic approach, which is based on the principles of relevance and integration. So we educate our children what is relevant to their lives, and because life is holistic, nature works in a holistic manner. So we need to have education, a methodology which is integrated. Next, please. So we worked on an alternative program, and it is a full credit program on agroecology by children. So the curriculum has been developed, the educational materials, the contents, teaching methodologies, everything has been developed. We've been working on these things for the last 20 years. And now we have a holistic program in place, which we can share with others also. So the program starts from building a living soil and building natural ecosystems. And it is a very comprehensive, very integrated program which takes care of all the facets, all the factors of life when we are growing food, and our ecosystems and the environment. Next, please. So you can see that from this collage, you can see numerous activities taking place, and this is a platform, this is a school garden which was established to teach and learn about agroecology. What is agroecology? What is living soil? And what is so fundamentally different between maintaining and sustaining and flourishing life and killing life. Next, please. So our children, they are the school children, now they are very well versed in growing ecologically. I mean, we don't use the word organic generally, because organic agriculture or organic gardening has many controversial ideas also. So we basically talk about agriculture and ecology, nature and producing food, and everything is in harmony with each other. It is in harmony with nature. So our children, they are now able not only to grow food like that, but they are it has changed their thinking patterns also tremendously. And when you take a pro-life approach, so obviously your worldview is also changed. So it's not only it's not only growing food which is safe, but it is a very pro-life approach also. So the success of the approach, it took us to many other places in the country, and now we are working with a big number of students in colleges, in universities, and in schools also. So it has become more of a movement now, which is spread all over Pakistan. So to make it in a very organized activity, we launched 2 years back a campaign called 1000 edible organic gardens, because the word organic is most of the people, they are familiar with this word, though we generally want to avoid this word, but to have a ready, to have an instant appeal to people, so we purposely use this word. So we have now like 100 gardeners who are young, who are very enthusiastic about growing food which is safe, and this movement is flourishing, and it is moving forward. Next slide, please. So not only to work in the country, and basically, actually, when we started this YouTube channel, the idea was to spread our message to maximum number of people in Pakistan, and share with them our own experiences, what we learn in school garden, what our experiments are, what our failures are. So when we started this YouTube channel, we tried to reach out to the maximum number of people. But interestingly now, this channel is actually viewed internationally also, and I think more than 40 countries, people in more than 40 countries, they watch videos on this channel. So there we are focusing on educating children on gardening, and how they can, starting from gardening when they are getting older, so they can go to larger scale farming also. So if anybody is interested, can see some videos on this channel, because that helps us also increase our outreach to people and to build an international community where we can have discussions, we can have debates, and we can take forward the agenda of agroecology. Next, please. So from the school, it marched forward to a campaign to home gardening, and then it went to the communities also, and communities picked it up. And now there are certain places in different parts of Pakistan where communities are very enthusiastically working on agroecology, and they are producing food which is safe, which is delicious, and which is nutrient dense. Next, please. So that is just a glimpse of our work, and you can see in this slide children working in our school garden, and you can see from the produce that how successful they are in their work. And this experience is very, very encouraging for us, and we believe that we can achieve many, many milestones with this knowledge and skills we have learned from in the school, from home gardening, and then now we are the communities are also contacting us. So I am very optimistic that we would be able to make at least some kind of a dent in the poison agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nasira. That was very good. And the sharing. Before we go on to Noor, I just wanted to just a few sentences, I think, of what I picked up from what Jain said. He said, for children, farming and agroecology is fun. And you can see the happiness in the photos that he shared with us about children in the ground, on the ground, in the farm, in the agroecology center, really having fun, but at the same time, learning. And for me, going on to Janeesha said, you know, she's from the Kurumba community. She has a tremendous, you know, commitment to work in the indigenous peoples, Kurumba's traditional ways, and to use the wisdom of her ancestors and her parents to do agroecology, to feed the community, to feed the family. I think that was amazing. And finally, to what Nasira said, harmony in nature, I think, and that children are also very involved and they're learning, and it's all part of the curriculum in their school, in the village, where it's a hands-on learning. And I'm so happy she ended with, there is hope, there is, a lot of possibilities for the future in terms of feeding the communities, in Pakistan, in India, in, the whole Asia, in terms of agroecology and safe and, nutritious, she said, nutritious and nutrient dense food. And I think that's for me was very, very, wonderful to have these three wonderful speakers. Now I call on Noor, Fatima, to share your experiences. Thank you.
An opportunity to talk about of my school. Please next.
Oh, wait, hold on. I can try to get the...
Thank you very much.
Can you please share my presentation?
Can you please share my presentation?
Will do, yes. Okay, sorry. Wait, hold on. One sec. Okay, let me share first. Can you see this?
Yes, I think future in hands of my children. And next slides. I studied at the School for Community Education in Village, Bangma. My school is different from other schools. I addition to other subjects, I studied about gardening, nutrition, and health. Next slide, please. We have a school garden. On learning, I learned how to make natural fertilizers. Please, next, please. Yes, so we use natural seeds and I learned to save seeds. Please, next. Yes. So I learned beneficial insects of in compounds plants. So now I know several methods of natural plants protections. We use fertilizers in soil. Please, next. Now I am teaching in my school and passing on my knowledge and skills to other children and the community. If you have any questions, I will be happy to respond. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Noor. That was good. So you have been part of the school and now you're teaching others. So that's a wonderful, sharing that you did. So now we have the last sharing, and that is Anne Lasimbang from Pakos Trust in Sabah. Anne, please go ahead.
Hi, thanks, Saro. Opibosian. So I would like to share my screen. Can see already?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, thank you. Good evening from Sabah. We are on the Saro and me are from Malaysia, but I'm on the Borneo Island. I'm a Kadazan Dusun, ethnic indigenous community from the Borneo. And thank you for being part of this sharing today in this session. But I would like to start with a short introduction on who we are. We are called PACOS, or Partners of Community Organizations, and we are based in Sabah, Borneo, and we are a community-based organization. And we have been active working with community, not only my own ethnic community, but also other communities in Sabah. And our organization is dedicated towards empowering indigenous communities in Sabah, but we also work with indigenous communities in Sarawak as well as in the peninsula. And we use two main approach as we work with communities. One is mainly training, developing human resources, and also establishing and strengthening community organization so that the communities can act collectively on their own. These are the areas where we work. We have a lot of villages, about 148 throughout the state of Sabah, and we have a population of about 50 network of villages people, and mainly with indigenous community in Sabah. We have so many, about 39, but we work with about 4 or 5 of them. And through this network area that we have established community learning centers and managed by the community themselves. So in terms of today's conference, how we are moving from pesticide here, our experience in PACOS is through our community learning center. We believe that the young people are the one who will inherit our practice, our values, our knowledge, and we need to transfer to the young generation, whether irrespective of their gender or age. So that's quite important, especially our indigenous worldview, where the main principle we use is harmony and balance, respect, and everything is God-given, and we have to live sustainably with the environment. And we, in our concept, the concept of our worldview is we must respect and care for all things, and we give, but we take, and there is also always a reciprocity. We have a very what we call a concept called protect and use, or Gompi Guno, in my community. And the practices that we see every day, such as Tagal. Tagal is a way how we manage the river so that we will not finish the fish. We have Tavol, another way of looking after the animals in the forest by another community. And we use the traditional calendar, especially looking at the phases of the moon, the shape of the moon, when we are planting. And that when we are harvesting, we do not take everything. We must leave some in the field. It's either for the birds, for the animals, or of course we also take the best part as the seeds that we will use for the next year of planting. And how do we do that in our community learning center? We normally do a lot of awareness raising on agroecology. Based on the indigenous principles, values, and practice. So we try to revive that in our community learning center. And we do a lot of trainings on nature farming, agroecology, eco-friendly farming practices, which is actually what we have been doing all this while. But because of modern agriculture, actually always introduced by the government, using of pesticide or insecticide chemicals in our farming. So people tend to have forgotten. They want to have an easy way of farming. So we are trying to go back to that, but sometimes the old knowledge has been forgotten. So we have to do a lot of training, as well as providing technical support, and then finally connecting the different community, different ethnic group together, so that we can work together, because different ethnic group have different knowledge. So in the community. And see, these are some of the things we do in a community learning center. It's not just for children. A lot of the community learning center involve young people, women, youths, and also children. So we realize that it's very important to start very young, at the age where even at our community learning center, we try to get our children to be involved in the farming, like paddy planting, and then they do activities that is common, which is actually our tradition, that is working together, or gotong royong, we say here. But despite all that, we have worked on this from ever since we started, like about 10 or 15 years ago. We also face a lot of challenges as well as opportunities. So with a lot of campaign that we are working with Pen app, and also with a lot of other group. There's also a renewed interest in local food that are nutritious and healthy, that is being mentioned by our previous speaker. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of our market were closed, and due to that, many more families are interested to plant their own food. So they had this experience of them cannot go out to plant, to buy food. So they have created an awareness for a lot of the families to plant their food for themselves. But at the same time, I think all over the world, like was mentioned by Jay, that we face a lot of challenges. Yeah, especially for indigenous communities, we face the challenge of passing the knowledge to the next generation, because we also realize that there might be different interests, or maybe most of their parents are no more farmers. So sometimes we have that, there's a gap. So that's one of our challenge, as well as a globalization. There's new belief systems that look down on what we have, especially for our knowledge, our traditional knowledge. We think that is something that is out of date. And then, of course, there's new gadgets. People are more interested to look at TikTok or to look at their handphone, and there's new knowledge. So people don't want to touch the soil. So those are some of our challenges here. And then, of course, as mentioned by previous speaker, we also face climate change. It affects our farming cycle. So we no longer can, we look at the moon, we look at the stars when we are farming, but then we have very unpredictable rain, and sometimes very heavy. And so there's a lot of disaster. So it does affect our farming cycle. Of course, the recognition of the indigenous people system and knowledge is also a challenge, because this is not taught in school, whereas it is shunned by even our own community. Everyone said they want to be modern. Yeah. And as I think many other countries, especially here in Malaysia and in Sabah, our land are being open for monocrops, for oil palm, for rubber. So people want to grow large scale. They think that growing small scale is not economical. So I think we need to think more differently now. So these are the campaign, these are the challenges that we are facing in PACOS. But we must, for us, we feel that we do not want to give up, and together we have this new community working together. we can become better. So I think thank you very much for your attention. We have a logo called Sharing Max Community, Together We Prosper, especially in agroecology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. That was really wonderful. We've been following your struggles in Sabah and Sarawak, particularly looking at PACOS and how you have continued to struggle and assert your rights as indigenous peoples in Sabah. And I think that has been a major challenge in terms of land grabbing, that's the expansion of oil palm plantations, and yet the struggle continues. And what I also see is that you have a very strong agroecology base now. And while there are challenges, there are also wonderful experiences that are coming out from Sabah and from PACOS. I think that's amazing. When I visited PACOS a few years ago before the MCO, it was really great to see small toddlers and preschools and school children and the youth actually coming and being part of PACOS, the fields, and going and checking out the agriculture as part of the curriculum. So I see that there's a lot of exchange, that can happen from India to Pakistan to Malaysia and elsewhere also when we expand the learnings and getting the youth and the young people and children to be much more involved in farming. So I'm really happy that you were able to share some of your work. I also want to thank Noor again. I think it's amazing what Nasira and students and children and young people like Noor have learned from the process of building and learning on the using hands and the soil, and learning how to do composting, how to do seed selection, storage, dealing with pest problems, all in an agroecological manner. And I think that's amazing that Noor has been from a student, from a young age to the now being able to teach herself, to teach others, and to work and do it by learning, the learning experiences together, So I think that's amazing what's happening in Coach in Pakistan. And of course, Janeesha did not say much, but there's so much of knowledge and wisdom that she's imbuing from her parents, from her ancestors, from the learnings from the ground. I think it has been really interesting. And of course, Jayan gave a very good overview of the problems that we face in terms of pesticides. It's really not only affecting human health and the environment. I mean, if you look at human health, we have 385 million people, workers and farmers every year being poisoned by pesticides. And we have this dumping issue, this double standards, the exports of pesticides that are banned for human health and environment reasons coming in from Europe to and North America to developing countries like in Asia. And we are seeing that it has tremendous impact on people's lives and children's lives, and their well-being as a community, and of course the environment. The impact on the environment has been devastating. We are losing even our insects, our birds, our wildlife even, and it's all due to the pollution in terms of chemicals and pesticides. So we are facing a tremendous, so I think that will be wonderful to continue this discussion about how do we now expand agroecology? How do we stop the impact of pesticides on human health? And so, and the environment, because it affects all of us. So I think I will stop here and move on for the questions and an exchange that we have for half an hour. So I look forward for the questions. Thank you.